Hello everyone and welcome to The Comic Box. We've changed format, we're now a podcast rather than doing video and all that sort of stuff, mostly to save time and get more shows out there. So, I'd like to introduce everyone. Unfortunately one of our regulars, Movie Matt, won't be with us this week because he's got to work. Lazy bastard. So, joining me here today, I am Psycho Scott.
Professor Ray.
Anna Ann.
The Wookiee.
And we are going to talk about some comics and comic-related stuff. So, I suppose we'd better get underway. Yeah, what do you think about this whole digital comic revolution crap?
I'm for it.
Really?
All the way, man.
You like
Embrace the future, man. Embrace the future.
Yeah, but if you download comics, I mean, it's so much better having the physical representation there, surely.
Yeah, it is, a little bit.
I
But
mean-
have you seen the cool stuff that they do online? They're starting to it's partially animated with some of the frames.
Some of the animation and stuff like that's kind of cool, but I mean, when you're basically trying to get rid of comics as a handheld thing and getting something that can just get rid of by pressing delete, I mean, fair enough, there's no value in comics at the moment. Most comics are worth about $2 unless you're paying like $200 for them, then they're worth $200. But you know, when you've got a downloaded thing...
Yeah, but you'll never really get rid of the physical part. What they're trying to do is integrate it into the internet as well and expand the marketing.
An
Does that
integration.
make sense?
I suppose at the moment you're seeing a lot of things like Avenging Spider-Man's coming out and it's got a download code in the back of it. Sort of like they're doing with DVDs and stuff like that. You get a Blu-ray, you get a digital copy and all that sort of stuff. That sort of way makes sense to me. You can go online and you can download the latest, I don't know, X-Men comic or something like that for $2. Because that's what it costs in America. So you can go on there and you can download that. Fair enough, you'll get it. You'll get it a day earlier than you'll get it here because you've got a day's shipping. But you read it on some stupid screen and then it's gone. You know, you no longer have that physical thing. I don't know. I think I would stick with the actual comics.
I prefer to hold it in my hands.
Actually have the pages. Turn the pages instead of click.
Yeah, also goes down to was a collectible value. I mean, was a downloadable file is pretty much worthless because you can just get it anywhere. Or about was a Batman #1 sort of thing, like in the physical sense, would be worth a lot because there's not that many of them.
Yeah, but the people that go online to download it aren't really going to buy it anyway. If you think
They're
about
not
it.
the real comic nerds, yes.
Yeah, they're not really going to come into the shop. I suppose if you want to look at it that way, it's actually going to be preferable. Because all the people that aren't likely to buy comics anyway are going to be downloading these things, which means they're going to do lesser print runs, which means the actual physical representation will be worth more in the future.
Yeah, so
at the moment you're getting print runs of like 40,000 and stuff like that. You go down to a print run of 10,000, fewer of those are going to be out, so when it comes round again, they'll be worth quite a bit of money. So
become more sort of rush scramble, everyone backstabbing everyone trying to get a copy.
Yeah,
sort
it
of
just
thing.
means that the real collector is not going to get their issue of it because there's
Probably,
not enough of them around.
yeah.
Yeah.
They'll end up with second and third and 46th printings.
Or you could just wait for the trade.
You could always, get to the point where instead of shipping out the comics to us, they're shipping out little cards with codes on them. People just come in and buy their code from you.
No.
It's just not going to work.
As it was it'll be two trains of thought. You'll have the die-hard collectors that will definitely want the physical copy, and then you'll get the occasional person who's like, I'm not too sure, and we'll probably download just sort of see if it's worth it or not.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times.
Essentially, it'd be sort of more like with movie trailers and that. Like before you see the movie, it's like you see a trailer to sort of gauge what it'd be like. It's like, well, I mean, you got the previews magazine for that, but mostly
you've got a bit of a preview anyway with previews magazine. You know basically what's going to happen in the story and all that sort of stuff. But there's been a lot of times. I mean, nowadays you can't go into a music shop and listen to music. You have to either download it or just buy it and hope that it's good. So, illegally download it so you can find out if it's any good and then go and buy it.
Although a lot of bands have been releasing like the odd single and that on their own websites anyway. So.
MySpace sucked. There's no doubt about MySpace sucking, but it was a great way of getting your music out there.
Yeah, I mean, because you'd have that small little bit where you could be playing your favourite band's sort of music and that.
Yep. For us, it's not too bad because obviously we've got the Diamond website. We go on there, we can get a preview of any comic. So we get a chance to have a look through the pages and tell you whether it's any good. That doesn't do anybody else any good. If they gave like a preview sort of thing on the specific publisher's website or something like that, a nice little 5-page snippet or something like that on the website, and you could check that out and figure out whether you wanted to download or buy it.
Yeah. But they do, don't they, on the Marvel and DC? I'm pretty sure Marvel's doing it. So you
Marvel's,
can see 2 or 3 pages.
I think Marvel has started doing a couple of pages here and there.
I think Dark Horse does it because I've been on Dark Horse a couple of times, and
but they don't do it with everything.
No,
I mean
it's only mainly their main titles, and I think they do it with.
It's not bad if you can go on there and check out the occasional thing, maybe Spider-Man, X-Men, and stuff like that. But what about? I don't know. What's a weird Marvel title at the moment? What about Battle Scars? I mean, was there anything on there for Battle Scars? It's nobody knows what the hell it is. So I don't know. I'm not sure about the digital comic sort of thing. Some of the stuff's pretty cool. I've seen some of the animated stuff, like Ray was saying.
Like we were saying this were years ago that we'd like to see Batman actually punch someone in a frame.
Yeah.
And now we can do it. We've got things like iPads coming out and everything, trying to integrate that to make sure that the comic books don't get outdated. I reckon this will give a lot of indie comic producers a step in as well.
I suppose next subject really sort of filters into it. Do you prefer comic art or comic story? Would bad art make you stop reading a comic?
Yes, I think it would.
Yeah?
It depends. The art has to suit the comic. When you think about it.
True. I mean, personally, I don't like John Romita Jr.'s artwork, and that seriously hindered me reading Avengers when it first came out, and it stopped me from reading Kick-Ass, because I don't like his artwork. And it seriously has stopped me, whereas titles like Darkness and stuff, I got into those because I like Dark Helm's artwork. It was purely the artwork that drew me into a comic like that.
I think with comics myself, I mean, I like that blend of both good artwork and good storyline. But, I mean, you can't always get that. I mean, you'll get the occasional issue of your favourite one where they'll let you down a little bit with the artwork, but the storyline might be, better. Or you'll get really good artwork and then the storyline will just be not as good as it normally is, sort of thing.
Name your favourite comic.
Yes, what is your favourite? What's your favourite title at the moment?
Title at the moment? Oh, God, I'm just trying to remember. I'll go from one that's actually finished. I really enjoyed reading Star Wars Legacy. That was a really good run. Artwork was good.
If they drew that like a manga book, would you still read it?
I don't know, because I've never really gotten into manga.
What if they drew it like Scott Pilgrim? Would that stop you from buying it and reading it?
It depends. Is it going to be black and white or in colour?
Black and white.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't read it because it's black and
white.
white.
It would definitely put me off because I read Witchblade and I really enjoy it and I enjoy the artwork and everything, but I can't read the Witchblade manga.
Yeah, but that's a totally different sort of story, really.
It is.
So, I mean, personally, I was totally put off by the anime and all that sort of stuff with Witchblade. I couldn't handle it. But there's a good question. Why wouldn't you read something in black and white? What have you got against black and white?
I guess it's just when you think black and white, you're thinking like really old stuff, like was it stuff from the 1940s, 50s, and all that sort of stuff. And was the price of a comic back then was practically around the same price now. It was just black and white. And
no, really. If you go back, look at any of the early Superman. I mean, nowadays you get reprints that are in black and white and stuff like that, but they were always really colour. It was basically the newspaper strips that were in black and white. The black and white, that doesn't hinder you at all. I mean, you read that much manga and stuff like that.
I'm used to it, but the artwork does portray the setting and the feeling of the comic. I mean, you can't have a dark story like Batman drawn in, say, brightly Japanese colours. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah. It has to fit in with exactly what it's trying to portray and accomplish. And personally, I mean, maybe it's because I like art and all that sort of stuff. I love to see the way an artist's drawn something. But I don't know. I love to see the black and white representation. I read X Factor. I think it was the Essential X Factor, and it was the original comics. They were in full colour, but this was the artist's just inked drawings, and I preferred them. I read that comic. I read it through, and it was better than the first time I read it. And it was simply because it was in black and white rather than colour.
And it's probably got a lot to do with you don't have the colours distracting you.
Yeah.
You have noticed that with some comic books, they use too many colours. It actually kind of hides the text.
Yep.
Yeah, there's one at the moment, Rachel Rising. I don't think anybody else has actually read it except me. But that's black and white.
It's black and white interior.
It is black and white, yeah.
See, I've got no problems with that. I've been reading things like Bone and, well, all of Jeff Smith's stuff, Rassel and all that sort of stuff. It's in black and white. He's got an excellent style. They're starting to colour it now, and I don't think it's necessary. And the colour stuff looks nice, but it's really not necessary. He created the right sort of atmosphere and ambience in the black and white medium.
Yep.
It doesn't really need the colour.
It had the story, though.
Yeah.
So it's the same with that Rachel Rising. That's got the story. It doesn't need
It's
the
got a
colour.
story to back it up, and the story is essentially what's necessary. I mean, a lot of people that come in here don't really read books because it's just writing.
Yeah. They get a surprisingly few comic books then. There's a lot of writing in those books.
There's a lot of writing in some of them. Yep. There's, well, all the way through. I mean, when Stan Lee used to write these books, you could probably fit 3 of today's modern comic books in one book that Stan Lee wrote. He would write so much in each of his comics that you would actually be reading around about 3 of today's comics in one book. And they're no longer. They're still 20 pages and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, there's obviously been a downturn in this sort of stuff, and fair enough, they've spread it out and they've sort of integrated the artwork into it, which is circling me right back to the original thing. The artwork, if what you're looking for in a comic book is the artwork instead of the story or text or anything like that, when you're looking at digital comics and stuff, basically you can download the artwork that you're reading a comic for. That is no longer that person's property. They're not going to make any money from it because it's then a digital download and somebody's just going to nick it. How can you tell whether somebody's plagiarising somebody else if you can just download it, change the text and release it as something else?
Yeah, but they always had that problem. I mean, there's a few comic books, they always pick them up these days. I think you've seen it where they've plagiarised character posters and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was the major one was Gene Simmons' son copying Bleach to try and release his comic. That was horrendous. That was a blatant rip-off.
Also, you've had, like, was it DC and Marvel have had their own sort of thing. I mean, was it classic example is Deadpool and Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now the guy that created Deadpool is drawing Deathstroke.
That's the only way DC could probably make that look good, is by getting the guy who did Deadpool to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I suppose everybody likes their own particular thing. I know that and another thing that I was going to bring up was Superman Earth 1 was released 2010. I think it was early 2010 it was released. Written by J. Michael Straczynski, and the artwork by somebody I didn't even know at that stage. Beautiful artwork throughout the entire story. Basically a retelling of Superman's origin in today's settings. And it was really, really well done. They recreated the suit. He was a little more emo than he used to be, but everything sort of filled in a nice story, and I wanted to know what happened next. They said they were only doing one book for each character. But the next one that they're releasing this July is Batman Earth 1.
Okay, that could be interesting.
Instead of like using the same artists and the same writers and things like that, they've actually given each of them to a different person. So Batman's actually going to be written by Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns is writing a few of the DC titles at the moment. He's got a contract with DC. But he's always gotten into that sort of stuff. Do you feel that with that it should have as good an art style as Superman? Or should they... I mean, obviously, the person that's writing it has written Batman before. Just about anybody could write Batman. There you go, Ray. Give me a story for Batman. What does Batman do?
Joker robs a bank, Batman stands there and goes, "I'm Batman."
He freaks out, drops money, and they all go out for
pretty
an ice
much.
cream.
Joker punches up some civilians, gets a limo shaped like a cat, and starts spraying gas on homeless people.
Exactly, there we go. That's a Batman story. I mean, how hard is that? And I would probably read that over anything that Jeff Johns is about to write. Sounds a little more interesting.
Superman Earth 1 was really, really good.
It was.
I'm looking forward to the Batman one, yeah.
Yeah, it was really well written, and I hope Jeff Johns doesn't screw something up when he does his. But I think the hardest thing to overcome was there was a brilliant art style in Superman Earth 1.
It was.
Yeah, but look at Superman and Batman, they're two very different comic books. When have you looked at a Superman and think, that looks like it should belong in a Batman comic book?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
Very rarely.
Happen, really.
I think it's the difference between the bright colours and everything like that. But, I mean, if I were to pick up a comic, a Batman comic, and it was drawn by Sam Keith, I'm not going to read it. I don't like Sam Keith's artwork. He's doing 30 Days of Night at the moment. And he has done Batman a couple of times. He was good when he did the Max. That was just a weird character. But if I had preferential, I would say John Romita Jr. could draw a better Batman. I've got proof at home. I've got to draw the Batman he drew. I can go for the blocky sort of standard sort of look rather than the realistic look they went for Superman Earth 1. But I don't know. It really bothers me. I honestly can't even remember who was doing the artwork for Batman Earth 1. But I hope they don't screw it up because they got a super hit with Superman.
So you want to hope that they actually get someone really
Did
decent
someone
into
do it?
it.
That much to Superman's origin story. I mean, he's a baby, got sent to Earth. He was found by a couple of country hicks.
I don't think they really covered that much of that. It was him going to Metropolis. And this could be potential spoilers, but basically he goes to Metropolis, and he's just this emo kid. He hasn't really become Superman yet. He doesn't know what he's doing, but for some strange reason he's got a Superman costume. So, he's wandering around and he's seeing all these arseholes and he thinks, hey, I've got to do something about this. And then all of a sudden an alien appears and tries to take over the world, so he beats him up. I mean,
Okay, because
there you go. That's what you can expect from a guy that started his career writing Ghostbusters cartoons.
We're talking the ones that were set after the movie?
The
or
real
that other
Ghostbusters.
one? Okay.
The real Ghostbusters. Yeah, that's where Straczynski started his career.
It was good though.
What a brilliant man. Brilliant man. Actually, talking about Superman and Smallville and all that sort of stuff, Smallville ran for 10 years.
Yeah, how did it manage that? Really?
Exactly.
I know it survived in America because you barely saw it on Australian TV at all.
The only good season was the 10th season. They started adding all these superheroes and all that sort of stuff, and it was like, hey, it's not just stupid Superboy. Actually, he's not even Superboy.
I never
Superboy.
even called him anything.
It's Clark Boy. But I know a lot of people are about to press stop because they like Smallville, so I'll get on with my point. Season 11. They're going to do Season 11 in comic form, pretty much like they've done Buffy.
Okay.
And Angel.
And Angel continued on in comic form. Do you reckon they should?
No.
Honestly, they came to a conclusion there. It was basically the end of Smallville was him opening his shirt. There was his Superman logo.
They
and
should have
everything.
stopped with Smallville after season 1.
Smallville-
That's it. That ended. No more Smallville.
If they go into comics, he will be able to wear the suit.
Well, Smallville in comics is Superman.
That's pretty much. I mean, it was at the end, he revealed that he's now Superman. So the next one will be basically it'll just be a Superman title. It shouldn't really bother putting Smallville on it because I mean, essentially, he's not even in Smallville anymore. It'd be in Metropolis, doing the whole Clark Kent mild-mannered reporter, and then alter ego Superman going around saving people on that.
Yeah. So it's basically going to be Lois and Clark. Why couldn't you just follow on to Lois and Clark? It was a horrible series, but come on. It's already had its continuation. It doesn't need a comic series to continue it. It seems a little odd for me. I mean, let's face it, I'm probably going to read it anyway, but, it was always a comic property. It never really held well in any of the actual full motion stuff. I mean, if you're going to... I think it was season 8, season 9, they introduced Mr. Mxyzptlk. Except he was just some emo kid that knew magic.
Yeah.
That totally ruins all of the setup that has happened in Superman comics. So this is totally out of continuity, much like all of Smallville was.
I do remember that was a few episodes from Lois and Clark when they had that particular character whose name I can't really pronounce.
Which one? Who are we talking about? The one I just said?
Yeah, the one you were just talking about. Yeah.
Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Yeah.
Yes. It's okay, I have studied this character for years. Much like the guy in the last season. Who was he? The bad guy in the last season of Smallville.
Oh.
He was the big bad.
Oh, Darkseid.
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 The original creator called him Darkseid, but he didn't care if people called him Darkseid. I always called him Darkseid. It's Darkseid to me now, because I know the way the original guy intended it.
Yeah.
But, Mr. Mxyzptlk. Say it with me, people. Mr. Mxyzptlk.
No.
Thanks, Professor.
I just used to
I think
skip
I'm
over
with
that
Raymond
one.
with that
Mxyzptlk.
Yeah. In fact, I will read Smallville season 11 if they bring in Bizarro.
Bizarro would be cool.
See, that's one thing they should have done in the Smallville series.
It would have been
touched
so easy to
on
do.
Yeah.
One thing they should never have done was put Booster Gold in it.
Booster Gold is a weird character. He's the perfect personality for TV, but and now they're starting that Green Arrow series. They're shooting the pilot at the moment for a new Green Arrow series. Didn't they already sort of cover a really bad Green Arrow then?
Oh,
do they have to put a new one?
Yeah, but then again, I don't know that much about the character Green Arrow to sort of comment too much on it anyway.
I suppose if you look at a lot of these things, there's been movie tie-ins, there's been game tie-ins and TV series tie-ins with all of these comics. Comics will be written about anything. And chances are if you like a game or a movie enough, they're going to make a comic out of it.
Oh, they've been doing that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, go
Predator.
back to Star Wars,
Yeah.
Predator, Star
Predators.
Trek.
Yeah.
Go for any of the major sci-fi series. Go for any of the games. I mean, there's been... Actually, that would be awesome if they did a Legacy of Kain one, but that's just my obsession. You've got things like Modern Warfare. You've got World of Warcraft. I mean, does World of Warcraft have a story?
Yes, funny enough.
Yes, there's a story in that
There
thing.
is a story.
Yeah.
It's just very slow and it's moved like one step since it began.
Yes.
Well,
Come waste your life for 3 years. You're a goblin. Get over it.
No, it's
Prepare to be killed by a bunny.
No, the storyline was pretty much set down in Warcraft. Was it 2 and 3? Less extent 1. But
I played Warcraft 3. I think I touched lightly on Warcraft 2, but I played Warcraft 3 and quite enjoyed it. I'm not one for RTS, but I actually quite enjoyed playing Warcraft 3. I could not be bothered with World of Warcraft. Anything that I've got to pay tons and tons of money off and get killed by a bunny in 5 minutes, it's not worth playing.
You don't actually get killed by rabbits.
But if you were to make a comic tie-in to a game, what game would you like to see in comic form? What would you like to be led into a comic, or just a comic based on the
Like
game?
I said, Legacy of Kain's finished at such a point where you could make a great comic series. I really enjoyed that last one. Which was it called?
I think it was Defiance.
Defiance
Was the last one? Yeah. It had finally come around full circle, and it was revealed what was happening between Kane and Raziel.
That would be. I just want to see the end to that series. I want to see more because it was such a great story.
Yep. They had something in that story. I mean, I was telling somebody the other day, I actually used to get my friends over so they could play Legacy of Kain while I was sitting there, so I could watch the story. I didn't care about the game. Was the game any good? I don't know. The story was awesome.
I know with a lot of the old games, especially like Wing Commander, not Wing Commander, pretty much more Wing Commander 3 and 4 and Prophecies, and a couple of the Star Wars games, you could actually type in cheats where it would just skip all the missions and just play the cinematics.
Get the story behind it.
Yeah,
that would have been perfect.
You just pretty much watch it like
just
a movie.
Record it and start it as a movie.
Civilization 3 as drawn from the Tick's eyes.
Oh,
that's
my.
all I have to say.
Now that would be interesting. That would be John Romita Jr. again. Jeff. Or Wookie, sorry. What would you like to see game converted into comic? What would you think would be the best one to go into comic form?
It's pretty hard to say because a lot of the games I've played have already got titles. I mean, they've done a comic book series for Dragon Age. They've done a few for Diablo. They've done a few for Star Trek, Star Wars, World of Warcraft. I mean, there's not really that many computer games that I haven't played. They haven't turned into a comic book series.
Most of the games you've played have already been turned into comic series.
It's probably maybe Wing Commander, but the storyline from that was pretty much in the...
I know nothing about Wing Commander except Mark Hamill.
Yeah, but that was from Wing Commander 3 onwards. Yeah,
sorry, I thought it was Star Wars 7.
Well, with the whole Wing Commander series, it was basically Earth, well, pretty much the Terran Confederation up against alien race called the Kilrathi, which were pretty much evolved lions.
So it's a pretty standard sort of storyline.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's pretty much
it's the live
man
action
versus
Thundercats.
a Thundercat sort of thing. But a lot of the was a game plan that could be more drawn to the air and sea conflict from World War II, pretty much.
It wouldn't make a very compelling comic.
No,
really.
they actually did a cartoon series of it.
You can sort of understand that they wouldn't make a comic series of that. What about you?
Well, the majority of the games that I play are actually in comic form anyway. Tomb Raider's been done. Silent Hill's been done.
Poorly,
All
but
these
yeah.
things yeah, basically most of the ones that I play have actually been done.
Yeah. I think the best thing to continue a comic series with is something that's already a comic. I mean, they've done excellent Batman games. They have been really, really good Batman games.
It only took them 25 years to get one out.
Exactly. Well, longer than that. I mean, you realise how long Batman's been out? 40 years we finally made a game.
Oh, they did a few games when the movies came out, like for
There were some alright ones, but I mean, the latest games are brilliant, and they're finally making a comic, actually. Batman Arkham Unhinged is actually a comic tie-in to the new games.
Is that before or after? Or
I'm assuming it's after. It's advertised in next month's previews. That would be really awesome.
Yeah, I recken that'd be
that would be an interesting thing to show. Apparently, they were planning on making Hush a bigger influence in the third game. So, I mean, if you're going to tell a story like that, there's not really anywhere to go after Arkham City. So, something in between would be really, really classy. But they've already kind of done that with the one that led up to Arkham City as well. Because there was a 4-issue limited series that led up to Arkham City.
Yeah.
So, there was a little bit there, but again, that was basically just the introduction of, what was it, Mayor Sharp and Hugo Strange. Basically, Hugo Strange taking over the asylum and creating a city out of it. That was a bad idea.
I seriously, I don't know how anybody could get someone to make a city of villains.
Yeah.
Let's get all the people from the asylum and cut a giant chunk out of our city and let them just fight.
No, hang on. Escape from New York.
Yes.
They made it up in
Let's
a
just
century.
chop New York off of America.
From LA.
Who needs it anyway? They've got about 30,000 superheroes, about 40,000 villains, and about 2 normal people.
Actually, one thing I would like to see go from comic book to video game would be Deadpool.
Deadpool
excellent.
video
Done
game.
right, if
Yeah.
done right, that
Yeah.
would be a really.
Well, they'll
good
probably
game.
do one that ties into the movie, but that'll be horrendous.
Well,
Yeah.
they did an awesome Deadpool level on the Spider-Man game, if you remember. It was on
Oh,
like
that
an
new
ring.
one? Yeah,
that was
the,
an awesome level.
yeah, the Ultimate Spider-Man
Yeah.
one. I think it was what's his name? He did Deadpool's voice in the Wolverine versus movie. Wolverine versus Hulk.
No, it wasn't Chris Nolan.
No, Chris Nolan makes the Batman movies.
Sorry.
Guy that does Drake's voice in Uncharted. Wow, Nolan North. Thank you. Okay.
So it had Nolan
It
in
had
there.
Nolan in
There we
there.
go.
That's where I
Nolan
got
North did the
confused.
voice, and I thought he actually did a really good voice. I've heard a lot of people criticise his voice for Deadpool, but he's got that weirdness to him.
That was perfect Deadpool in my mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't want to see that expand. I reckon it's perfect, just that one level contained. Because if you have Deadpool, you can overdo it, I reckon.
Playing as Deadpool, I imagine you would have to go into deep psychological type stuff because he's nuts.
What I'd like
That's-
occasionally to see would be him to just turn around and do the whole fourth wall sort of.
He does that in the comic books,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's going to do it in the movie. But you know, you'd want him to be the sidekick, or like in Spider-Man, you would want him to be a level where you went up against him or something. To actually play as him, I would imagine would be so annoying.
10 hours of hearing the same one-liners,
Yeah.
you'd go mad. Like, usually because they only give him 5.
You'd have to make it a short game then.
Considering he's got 2 other voices in his head, you'd have to have 3 different people doing the voice.
3 different
Well,
voices.
they never explained if the other 2 had different voices.
No, but they're done in
It's
different
implied
coloured
in the
blocks.
comic.
Yeah, I know,
It is.
different coloured blocks. I think that was mostly to
Yeah.
tell the difference between.
Yeah, different shapes as well.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about it. I said Batman Arkham Unhinged is going to be released. Recently, everybody knows that DC restarted. They've got their new 52, all that sort of crap. They're cancelling 6 of the titles. Yay! It's good because they suck. And we get the chance to do whatever we want with these comics. I was so delighted to tear Hawk and Dove in half. That's how much I hated the comic. It was terrible. It was an absolutely horrible comic. But they've cancelled 6 of them. There is 6 titles that they've cancelled, which brings the total, obviously, down to a
46,
lower number.
yeah.
46. Thank you, Professor. It brings it down to 46. But instead of being the 46 now, they have to re-release another 6 titles. But they're bringing back 6 crap titles. They're horrible, horrible titles. Batman Arkham Unhinged is one of the new titles that they're going to advertise in next month's previews, along with the new 6. Why wasn't it one of the new 6?
Well, let's stop here. Name 6 good DC titles.
They
Justice
already
League.
exist. There's Batman, Aquaman. Yes, I am standing up for Aquaman. Aquaman is a good comic.
Yes.
Batman. Detective Comics, featuring
Oh,
Batman.
You forgot Justice League.
I think
Justice
some-
League.
I think
Justice
someone's
League.
got Bat on the brain.
Justice
here.
League is one of those comics. It is a good comic, and I'm pretty sure that's written by Jeff Johns, so hopefully he will be able to continue, because the main selling point at the moment is Jim Lee's artwork. That's what's selling Justice League at the moment. And he stops. Next issue is his last issue on Justice League. Is anybody going to pick it up after that? If everybody's buying it just because Jim Lee's finally drawing again, it's only been like 10 years since he last drew something.
It's a good story.
Exactly. Are people buying it because of the artwork, or are they buying it because of the story? It's a good story.
Well, doesn't that go back to the original sort of one we talked
Going back to
about,
the
whether
art of the
about
story.
was what's more important, artwork or story?
Jim Lee is in the Guinness Book of Records for selling the most amount of comics. X-Men #1 sold 1.8 million copies or something like that. Highest sold comic ever. But anyway, the new 52, they're, I'm assuming, releasing 6 more titles just so they can keep calling it the new 52.
Because the,
Why?
Remind me, how long ago was DC
Well,
restarted?
they're up to 6 issues. Can you still class it as
like
new?
6
That's 6 months.
Yeah.
After 6 months, hasn't it sort of gone past new? Is it going to become the old 52?
I guess
The
so.
current 52? I suppose they're calling themselves Direct Current now instead of DC, but that's a stupid name change as well. We used to be called Detective Comics. Let's be called Direct Current. That doesn't actually go with anything. Are we becoming an electric company? I've got a monopoly. Can I build a house here? And their logo. Oh, the logo sucks. But the new 6 titles. One is a rehash of one that they're getting rid of. They're getting rid of Men of War and starting GI something that isn't Joe, but might as well be.
GI Man of War.
As far as I can tell, it's exactly the same story. It's the same character. Why are they getting rid of the character and bringing him back?
Is
in
it
another
drawn
title?
differently? Or?
No, it's pretty much the same artwork as well.
Oh, great.
It's totally pointless. One of the other ones is Dial H for Hero or something like that.
Okay.
Why? Beep, 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 beep. Is that Batman? Yes, what do you want?
Well,
Being mugged.
that just reminds me of, was it one of the other ones? Was it Heroes for Hire or something like
Yeah.
that?
It's exactly the same sort of premise, and it's just pointless as hell. It's pointless in that. They're doing Ravagers. What is Ravagers? They did Ravagers a fair few years ago, and I suppose it was an alright comic, but this one directly ties into Teen Titans and Superboy. It ties into Teen Titans and Superboy, and is the storyline Gen 13. It's even got the Gen 13 characters in it.
What?
Yes.
What?
In other words, they're releasing Gen 13, they're just not
As
calling it Gen
Ravagers.
13.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Like Paul Brian.
It makes no sense. A couple of the other titles, there's Earth 2, which, okay, they're going to basically recreate Justice Society. Okay, fine. Seems kind of pointless. Justice Society wasn't really selling that well. It wasn't a big name title or anything like that. Let's bring it back. Call it Earth 2. There's World's Finest, which is an old DC title, which is, instead of, I think it was Superman and Batman originally, pretty much World's Finest, and now it's Power Girl, which is a big boob alternate version of Supergirl, and Huntress, big boob purple Batgirl.
So pretty much they've just
They've
just basically turned Batman and Superman into females instead, pretty much.
Yeah. So it seems kind of pointless, but the absolute worst thing they could possibly have released, they're not going to put Batman Arkham Unhinged ongoing series based on the awesome Batman games. They're not going to continue that as one of the new 52. No! They're going to do Batman Incorporated.
Oh, God.
One of the worst things they released before they restarted. Batman going, I need a Batman in every city. Why?
I'm the goddamn Batman.
And that brings up the point. I mean, why would you have a different Batman in every single city? I'm pretty sure every single city.
Pay for it.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, every single
I'm a
city
billionaire!
has their own like superhero.
I can buy a little boy if I want him.
He's Batman. He has a utility belt, little compartment for everything.
Okay,
He probably has like anti-Superman gloves somewhere.
He does.
He
He
does.
does. He has one with kryptonite in it.
did you even hear what they called the was it Britain version or England version of Batman and Robin?
No.
Knight and Squire.
Knight and Squire.
Knight and Squire.
But at least Squire is a female. He hasn't gone for a 10-year-old boy.
Okay, but still.
At least nowadays the 10-year-old boy's his son. You can sort of excuse that, I guess.
Let's take my son and throw him into villains.
That'll toughen him up.
Come here, boy. We're gonna kill those. Get in your tight spandex.
And now you know why they're not going to bring Robin into any of the new Batman movies.
Why not? Honestly. Come here, Dick. Yes. Going totally off subject. Because this is rather disturbing. Well, honestly, some guy came in last week, I think it was. Actually, yeah, last week. Last week he came in and he has a gift card.
Uh-huh.
Walks around the store, looks at a few things, comes up, says, I'd like to order some... actually, do you have any... Yes? Do you have any hentai? What? Well, personally? No, sorry, we don't really keep that on the shelf. You don't really want to put something like that next to Pokemon. It's sort of one of those things, Mummy, look! Pokemon and Pokemons right next to each other. It's not really one of those things you want to do. It's not exactly sensible.
No.
It's kind of disturbing, actually. Especially considering I'm
red right now.
Especially considering I know exactly what the Japanese like. It's... Do you think that's a boundary? I mean, we've had a few people come in. I don't mind. I mean, if we can get it, we'll get it. If you want it, within reason, if it's in print, we'll get it. Or if it's a statue, we'll get it. But, I went to the adult shop because people were asking if we could get things like that in. I went in there and said, we own Cosmic Comics. And people are coming in asking us for hentai in the comic form, in the DVD form, all that sort of stuff. Would you be getting that sort of stuff? She laughed at me. She said, what? No! What kind of a freak are you? Have you seen the stuff they do?
Gee, isn't that the
adult shop said that to me. When you're freaking out the adult shop, there's something wrong. So, I mean, I don't mind, I'll get this stuff. I mean, everybody's got different tastes. We've got a guy that gets the stuff regularly. We'll get it in, but I'm not going to keep it on the shelf.
No, I mean, that goes back to the point of, would you ever, not back to a point, but to the point of, would you ever sort of have a section of just straight R18, or what we class
adult
as
titles and
adult
stuff like that?
No, most of them have got mature reader written on the cover, or, not for children.
There are some mature reader comics which are definitely...
Well, you keep your tarot up there on the top shelf, so
Tarot's on
kids
top
can't
shelf.
reach it.
Yeah, exactly. Kids can't go, ooh, boobies! No, it's for children.
Where there is no storyline.
Yes. Story? Boobs!
Strangely enough, there is actually a storyline in tarot.
Yes. How quickly can you strip? I would never actually keep any in stock because the likelihood of somebody... I mean, people coming up to the counter and saying, do you have any hentai? I can go, no, but I can get it. I feel a little dirty getting it, but I can get it. I have no problem with getting it, but I'm not going to keep, a supply of it. I'm not going to keep $1,000 of hentai under the counter in case somebody asks for it.
Just tell them to go to Siren Visual.
Yeah, Siren Visual releases them. Go for it. But, I mean, there's a lot of restrictions. I mean, they do some freaky crap in
the
those
digital
things.
revolution doesn't look so bad.
Digital,
now, does it?
You want that sort of stuff? You go online.
That's where downloading is.
That's where you want your downloading stuff. You want superheroes? We can cover you. You want superhero porn? That's what the internet's for. People actually still buy pornography. It amazes me. That's what the internet is. Yeah. Oh, that's so wrong. Actually, March is manga month or manga month.
Manga month.
Manga.
Manga.
There
we go.
We're Australians. Thank you, Professor. I like this man.
I'm going to sit over here and let these guys have a nice
Manga
argument.
month. March is manga month. Okay, we all understand March is manga month.
Why not me?
Not so much. March is manga month because in the March previews, you can order all of the new manga to be released in July.
In July.
How is March Manga Month?
Don't.
Welcome to Manga Month. Order all you like. It'll come in July.
Yeah, but February Manga Month doesn't really ring as well.
Not really.
Yeah.
Well, that
March
brings
Manga
my-
Month. You know,
That brings my pay. Why not May?
March Manga Month. May Manga Month. May Month. They're bad. There. No, March Manga Month works better. I prefer that. But I mean, honestly, March Manga Month. Get your comics in July.
Or manga.
Or manga.
Oh, manga.
Sorry. Yes. Get your furry little creatures in March
Or tentacle or
possibly
googles or
July.
whatever strange things you are into. You crazy, crazy fools.
You crazy, crazy kids. Actually, they've been in talks about it for a while. I think it was the guy that did... I am horrible with names today. The guy that did... James Cameron. Not the guy that did James Cameron. Sorry. The guy that did that movie called James Cameron. James Cameron has the rights to release Battle Angel Alita. I think it was James Cameron. Has the rights to release Battle Angel Alita. They've been talking about Akira movies. They've been talking about Evangelion, all that sort of stuff. He has the rights to release Battle Angel Alita live-action American movie.
Alita would be a great movie, I reckon.
I reckon...
Or Gundam, as it's named in Japan.
Yeah. Thank you for
But
that.
I don't think they could stuff
That's
that
the
up.
reason he has the lab coat.
I don't think they could really stuff that up because I mean it had pretty basic sort of storyline to it.
It's a pretty easy thing. Everybody will complain because, it's not a Japanese person in a lead. Really?
Well, it's the
Does
thing.
that matter?
You
It's
could
a
get
story.
around with that. You could get around with was it I forgot what her last name is, but her first name's Devon. She was in Sin City. Was it the second Fast Furious movie?
Yep.
Japanese American.
Yep.
Probably able to
Yep.
play the role.
You can
quite
have a
easily.
fair few of them who look the part and are actually quite good actresses and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's, actually, that's a good question. What could there? Let me try that again. What comic book character or movie or God, I am doing really well today. What comic book character or title would you like to see made into a movie that isn't already planned?
Viking Pirate Ninjas. Ninja Viking Pirates? I forget the name of the book.
Cowboy Ninja Viking.
That's the one!
An insane man with triple split personality.
I just want, even if it's B-rated, I want to see this. It's wrong with so many
Talk to
levels.
Yui
It's great.
Boll. He'll probably do it.
Uwe Boll. I'm here to make a comic book movie. What would you like to suck? That's both how bad the movie's going to be and what you got to do to create a movie. He's got to get the Nazi gold somehow.
Or, like, Gen
Really?
13. Gen 13 would be a great film.
They did an
Oh, they
animated Gen 13,
Yeah.
which sucked.
Really?
The worst part about it was they had Flea, I think he's a bassist for Red Hot Chili
Yeah.
Peppers.
Yeah.
He did the voice of grunge. Why? Get an actor. It hurts my head. But I reckon that would be cool. But who the hell would you get to play the parts? And does anybody actually still remember Gen 13?
I remember
I do.
bits, but then I read it like
What
a year ago.
what is the most memorable part of Gen 13? What do you remember most about Gen 13? What stands out in your mind?
Oddly enough, I vaguely remember Pit running through somewhere.
You remember the pit one? That is brilliant. That's an obscure one. That is awesome. See, Pit. When I was watching, I am a huge Dale Keown fan. I love his stuff. He created Pit. Absolutely in love with the guy. When I saw X-Files, the original X-Files movie, they had this alien thing where it was underground and they just showed its hand for a second and its nails grew. I thought, alien, nails growing, about to rip that guy to pieces. That's Pit! That was exactly Pit. I thought at that stage they could have made a Pit movie and it would have been awesome, far better than the X-Files movie I was watching. And
Was
they
that
never
the
did
first or
it.
second one they did? Because I think they made two, didn't they?
Yeah, the first one was better than the second one.
Yeah,
But
it was.
the second one had Billy Connolly. I like Billy Connolly. But not as a weird preacher guy.
Pedophile.
Yeah. Yay! Billy Connolly is a pedophile.
Free candy for all!
Come here, little boy.
Would you say no if Billy Connolly offered you free candy?
No.
You guys
No.
actually had to think about that.
Actually, funny enough, I do have a quick sort of side sort of little thing.
Side note, yeah.
Side note. I think it was at Perth Medieval Fair last year. Billy just happened to be in town doing a thing, and he found out that was going on. He actually came down. He was there, and the funny part was no one really pointed at him out because I had these Irish dancers doing their thing at the time, and it was like the only way I found out about it was just the person at the gate basically said, "Oh yeah, I like Billy," and it's like, "What? He was here?"
And the fact that he was running around with a greatsword.
No, he wasn't.
Naked, as he often does.
He basically managed to blend into the crowd and just get out of there without any
can imagine that.
fuss going
Yeah.
on.
I can imagine that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like Billy Connolly. So, Gen 13, Cowboy Ninja Viking are your choices for a comic book movie.
Yeah. Come on, I mean, are those bad choices?
Those would be awesome.
Yeah, but
I must admit, the
looking
main
pretty
thing I
good.
remember with Gen 13, the things that stand out in my mind are grunge. I always liked him. Freak that could turn into anything. I can't even... I think it was Queelock? Weird little rat alien creature. I love that weird thing. It looked like
So
something
you
in a
see
labyrinth.
weird rat creature. I think Bones.
Exactly, stupid rat creatures. And Caitlin Fairchild's boobs.
Which I also very...
Which always stuck out there
Yeah.
quite frequently. Wookie, what would you make into a comic book movie that isn't already one?
that isn't already one. That's pretty hard, right? Because you think, oh, that would look good, and then you think, oh crap, they could really stuff that up easily, sort of thing.
Yeah, they really could.
Because I mean,
For just about anything you're thinking about.
Yeah, I don't know. So you don't even know what I'm thinking about.
You know what I'm thinking about?
No, I don't.
That's the thing. I think it's that they're already turning a lot of. Although I would like to see a Darkness Witchblade movie.
That would be awesome. That would be R-rated. That would be double R-rated. That would be...
Could not come into the country.
That would be a fan film.
Yeah.
And there are some really good fan films out there.
There are. Actually, sorry, before I go on about that, there's, I love Ninja Turtles, huge Ninja Turtles fan. There's a fan-made film about Casey Jones. Have you seen anything about it?
No, I haven't.
It actually had a limited release in, like, Canada or wherever the guy's from. They actually released it in a local cinema there. And it got rave reviews. It was awesome. To the point where the guy even made Ninja Turtle costumes so the turtles would appear in his Casey Jones movie.
That would be pretty cool. I reckon Casey Jones would be a great character to do a movie on.
It's the only relatable character in the Ninja Turtles.
Well, how much do you say? How much of is there much backstory for Casey Jones?
There's a huge backstory for Casey Jones. I mean, originally they only glanced on him, but the new Turtles series is all about him being beaten by his father and how he's got to look after his sister and all that sort of stuff, and how he finds solace with the Turtles being taught all the martial arts and all that sort of stuff.
And the time he went to Camp Crystal and put on a hockey mask.
No, I think you're fucking
What comic book character would you like to see made into a movie?
I think they're doing pretty much all the ones that I like, and as Jeff said, the Darkness Witchblade, that'd be great.
Witchblade.
But you could really do something like Chew. That'd make a really disgusting horror movie.
Chew would be, yeah, that would be an interesting horror movie. Just put out an R-rated Chew.
Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
Get that man out here.
Considering how long it took him to do the game,
Only
I
another
think it'll
30
be
years
in
and
the
we got a movie.
70s by the time they bring out a movie.
Oh God, you'd cast Dolph Lundgren in it, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, God, no.
Hail to the king, baby.
Oh, no.
List of people
Oh.
you shouldn't have.
I
playing
think I am
people
scarred
golf
now.
to the top.
I am
Come on,
seriously
it's-
scarred.
It is all you need. All you need is James Cameron, right? Because all he does is explosions. That's Duke Nukem. Give Duke Nukem one-liners that he's used in every game since, and then add alien pig cops. How can you ruin that?
I think they're doing
Trust
that.
me,
Isn't
that'd be a way.
Isn't that what Judge Dredd is? That movie looks terrible.
What, the original one they did?
No, the new
No,
one
the
with
new
Carl
one.
Urban. Did you hear they're making a 4th Transformers movie?
Oh, God, no.
That would be me. I'm ring-a-ling-a-ding-a-dong.
Good one.
Shush. Sorry about that. Yeah, they're making a 4th Transformers movie, 4th and 5th, and they're keeping Michael Bay.
God.
But they're getting rid of Shia LaBeouf, aren't they?
They're getting rid of everybody except Michael Bay. Apparently, he was the only one worth
So-
keeping. The
Are
person
they-
described as Hitler is worth keeping.
They're rebooting it, or are they continuing on?
They're rebooting. It's starting over. It's a
So-
total recreation of the franchise completely. But it's called Transformers 4, directed by Michael Bay.
Okay,
What?
There was rumours that the lead actor in Transformers 4 was going to be Jason Statham.
Right.
He drives Bumblebee along, he gets out of it, and then he fights Optimus Prime. That's awesome!
Hang on,
Really?
by everybody. I think even was it scrapping...
Everybody is gone.
Even the voice
The
actors.
entire cast gone.
So
They're
who-
starting over.
well, that brings up the question: who would you have?
We
voice
actually
Optimus
have
Prime?
a
I thought
person
that
coming
whoever
in.
did that was really good.
No, they
That
should
was the
keep the
original
original
guy.
voice actors. I actually thought Hugo Weaving did an excellent job on Megatron's voice as well. One of the people we've got coming in here regularly every morning, he won't be able to hear this. He's deaf. He's constantly going on about Transformers. He loves Transformers. He loves He-Man. He loves Thundercats. He loves all these 80s cartoons that are really, really bad, and I love as well, and I feel really sick for saying that. And he keeps on going on about how he wants the new Transformers series to be based on the Beast Wars. Transformers
I don't know.
Beast
I don't
Wars.
think
No.
As a Michael
was it-
Bay movie.
No.
Beast Wars was a
Movie
good
in-
cartoon
yeah.
series. You can't get a movie out of it.
No. That would be horrible.
Animated movie, yes, but not live action.
The only good Transformers movie was an animated movie.
Yeah.
And I'm old enough to have actually seen it in cinemas.
I don't think I did.
God, I'm old.
Thank God I'm young.
Can be quickly fixed.
We're going to take him out back and kill him now. He's not young anymore. Anyway, we've been rambling for almost an hour now, and I'm sure everybody is getting very tired of listening to us. We didn't really cover too much in the way of comics and new stuff coming out. I think we glanced a couple of titles. And that's what happens when you don't really have a script to work from. So, if you have at least partly enjoyed this, because I'm not expecting anybody to really enjoy this, if you've at least partly enjoyed this show and you want to hear more from us, this is going to be a weekly podcast from now on. It'll be uploaded every Wednesday from now on. And basically, hopefully, next time we'll have Movie Matt here, and if the Professor will come back, we'll
try.
We'll have the occasional appearance by him and a few guests. If you want to appear on the show, let us know. I have actually started up a thing in our forums section on the website. So if you go over to the website, click on Artwork Forums, there is a comic box section. If you go in there, you can comment on today's show, on any of the shows actually. You can leave suggestions on topics for us to talk about. I'd also like to do a few things like customer questions and things like that. So, like, if you want to know why they're not releasing... What was it? Why they're not releasing Thundercats by IDW, because Wildstorm owns it and Wildstorm no longer exists, mostly. If you want to know stuff like that, just ask away and we'll raise it on the next show. Raise it?
I guess I
English.
would be
Yeah,
asking
raise it,
about Thundercats since you kind of already...
Thundercats? Well, I'm not going to go into that at the moment, but if you're curious, ask, and I'll go into it in the next show. If you have a question for any of us, let us know. We want to try and get as much of an interaction between everybody that's listening, anybody that wants to participate, anything like that, just let us know. As the show progresses, we might even add a bit more video to it. Just spruce it up a little bit. Basically, we want to make it as big as we possibly can and try and put Kevin Smith out of business. So I think that's all for us for this week. Thanks for joining us. I am Psycho Scott.
Professor Ray.
Anna Mayan.
The Wookiee.
And we will make your ears bleed next week. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you later.